Hey you guys, we are excited to share with you some very exciting news. We have created an online training platform that you can do in the palm of your hand.
With over 20 modules and nearly 80 lessons, this is the most comprehensive and detailed scout micropigmentation course out there.
For those of you who can't travel here, maybe you're in other countries, you can now learn from your computer, you can sit at home, you can sit in a bus, and you can learn scalp micropigmentation with the greatest innovators in this industry.
Want to learn more? Click the link below.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scalp Solutions Podcast. I am your host, David Santiago, and today I got my man, Mr. Dots, Joey Saienni. What's up, brother?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here.
Thank you for taking out some time from your busy schedule to jump on the podcast. But first things first, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yes, it's Sigh-Annie. It's Italian, Saienni. But most people can't pronounce Sigh-Annie, so that's why I'm going with the dots.
That's it. Listen, that's it. It's Joey Dots. It's Joey Dots, a.k.a. Mr. You get a hairline. You get a hairline. No, you get a hairline.
You get a hairline. You get a hairline. You get a hairline.
There we go. I wanted you to bring it out. See, you got a little more umph in that than I do. You know what that's because that's your thing. That's your marketing ploy right there. You know what? Before we even get into, actually, you know what? What's the name of the clinic? Where you out of? And then I want to talk about the You Get a Hairline and Mr. Dots.
Yep. Yeah, so my name's Joey Saienni. I'm from Delaware, and I own Delaware Scalp Micropigmentation here in Wilmington. We're about 40 minutes from Philadelphia, so I get most of my clients from the Delaware area all the way. I've had people come from Kentucky, ironically. I'm not really sure why, Virginia, but a lot of people from Philadelphia, Northern Maryland, and Delaware.
Outstanding. Now, I want to circle back around to the You Get a Hairline. You took one of the most recycled memes, right? And I respect this as an artist, as someone who thinks out of the box. I would have never taken that meme and said, you know what? I'm going to recycle this to use it. And it was effective. You know why? Bro, that is what I know you by. Like, I don't want to call you Delaware Scalp. I don't want to call you Joe Dots. I just want to be like, you get a hairline. You get a hairline, right? So now, yeah. what was the mindset, bro? Like, seriously, what were you thinking? Like, all right, I'm about to take this meme. I'm going to recycle it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to use this towards SMP, and I'm going to really push it out there.
Yeah, great question. So like we're kind of talking about, because of the industry, if you want to boost something, so anybody who has a business or who doesn't have a business listening to this, in order to market on Instagram, you want to boost the post out to hundreds, thousands, millions of people, as much as you can get. And the fitness industry has a before picture and an after picture. And in SMP, you want a before picture. What does the bald guy look like before? And what does he look like after? And so in order to boost that, they won't let you anymore. Because you start out with a guy, he's overweight, he drinks a protein shake for 3 months, and now he's skinny and jacked, and it's just false advertisement, right?
Yeah.
So then if you want,
ruined it.
If you want to boost, so I can't boost a before and after picture on Instagram, which is exactly what people want to see. And I can't do that, which is ridiculous. It blows my mind. It's very frustrating. So I was in the shower, you have your shower thoughts, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, what am I doing? What exactly are we doing here? I'm creating hairlines, right? And I was like, and I'm giving this guy a hairline, and I'm giving that guy a hairline, I'm giving this person a hairline, her a hairline. So I was just, in my head, I'm just going through the motions, and I'm sitting there. I end up taking like a 45-minute shower, just going through the whole thing. And I have a friend, he does a motorcycle Santa charity. Shout out to Rocco Malin, he is motorcycle Santa. And he has a sleigh. I was like, what if I dressed up like an elf and I get on the back of his motorcycle and I just go around screaming, you get a hairline? And we get some drone footage and stuff. And I just thought it was funny in my head. And then I called him up. I was like, I don't know if he's going to do this, because he has a serious charity, to help kids with cancer and all this stuff, which is great. But he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it. I was like, let's do it.
That's what you needed, right? Yeah, somebody co-sign. So now, what was the feedback from it? Did you get some good feedback? Did you get some negative feedback? And who was it from? Like, are we talking about artists, or are we talking about potential consumers, clients?
Yeah, I got feedback from all across the board. Most people did like it. All the artists thought it was hilarious. All the SMP artists thought it was hilarious. I feel some people, obviously, losing hair loss is a sensitive subject to some people. Now, to people like you and I who are in the industry, we kind of own it. We don't care anymore. I can joke about it. You can joke about it. But to a lot of people, it's still very touchy, sensitive subject. They're still in denial. They're still not looking at the top of their head. They don't even want to recognize that they are going bald. So some of those people, I don't think they liked it as much. But overall, I got really good feedback. People thought it gave me great traction. And then once I did that, I was like, look, I'm going to put myself out there. And if I look ridiculous or if people don't think it's funny, oh, well, at least I tried. But it took really well. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep making videos and see how it goes.
Excellent, man. It was effective, brother. You did good. I want you to keep. I look forward to seeing a couple more of those. You gonna rock the elf? We're gonna do a Halloween. Can we get a Halloween one? Can we get a Halloween? So
I got a few more ridiculous ideas.
You guys,
I'm just trying to get through this move, but I'll get to that.
Sounds good. I want to now. Let's go back a little more. Let's go back to Mr. Joey Dots when he first started out. How long have you been in the scalp micropigmentation industry?
For SMP, I got my procedure done in 2016, right? So I'll tell you kind of how I got to the SMP, and then we can go back to how I led into SMP. How's that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I was researching it in like 2014, 2015, when there was only so many clinics. I think it was just, was it before Scalp Allure? It was Scalp Aesthetics, I think it was called. And I was researching that, and there was, the people in London, there were a few locations, and I was looking at this, and I was losing hair. I was using those fibers, kind of sprinkling it on top. And I was like, you know what if I just shave my head and get this done? So I finally got it done 2016. Shout out to Dan Urenberg, Scalp Allure. Dan did my first session. He's an OG in SMP. Dan's one of the originals. Dan's great. Anybody down in DC, I highly recommend Dan Urenberg.
Yeah, shout out to Dan Urenberg.
I got the procedure done. And then I went back. I'm working in corporate America at the time. And I was thinking, man, no one's doing this in Delaware. This is brilliant. This is genius. Why isn't anybody doing this? And so I was like, whatever, fine. I was going on YouTube, and then I bought the equipment, and I was just kind of practicing myself with no training.
YouTube artist too?
Yeah.
Me too, man. Me too. Right,
I just wanted to see what was going on. And then I was like, if I want to get serious with this, I'm going to have to go get, certified and actually train. I was like, I waited for like a good year and nobody opened up. I thought someone was going to meet. As soon as I got it done, I was like, man, someone's going to open one in Delaware. I know it. And no one did. So it's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I can say fuck, right?
Yes, you can.
So I went and got certified. I went down, I trained with Dan. I got this certification, and I was doing it out of my house for about a year. And this was in 2017, 2018. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to work my full-time job in corporate America. And then I'm just going to do this on the side. And so I got where I'm at right now, my unit. I signed the lease. I signed it for like 3.5, 4 years. And I was like, all I got to do is like make one sale, maybe 1.5 sales to pay the rent. That was just my goal in the beginning. Just make a sale so I can pay the rent and get my practice. And I was doing a bunch of free procedures to my friends, family, anybody who would be a guinea pig. Sacrificed a big portion of my leg. I mutilated it. And then once
is that with your own head? You got a bunch of impressions on your leg?
Oh yeah, my leg is totally mutilated. The upper thigh is done. I'm gonna eventually get it covered up. But yeah, I had to test. Somebody had to be the guinea pig. You got to trust your product, right?
My knee was looking like that blue light back there.
Yeah, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Of course.
So I got it done. I got this unit. We did the demo. We did all the painting. We're renting it. I was like, let me get a sale first month. I got a sale after 2 months. Right. I got the first 3 months of rent free. Well, he really put it on back into the lease, so it just made the lease longer. But it gave me time to build up because I told him, hey, this is what I'm doing. And so that was working out. And then the second month I got a couple more sales. And I'd say in the first 5 months, I had about 5 to 7 sales, something like that. And I wasn't doing great, but I wasn't doing horrible. Obviously, I'm 10 times better now. But in the beginning, I was just trying to do as much as I can. I was trying to do a lot of density fills, to be honest. It's like, well, you can't really mess that up too bad. You know, you can, but
Is that was like your safe place? Like, you know what? Yeah, he's got hair to cover up.
yeah, and you know, you can go a little deeper, right? You can go a little deeper. You could play with a few things. So that's why I even did I did the my mom the part on her hair. I was like, come on,
Nice.
come on, take one for the team,
Please, please, if you love me.
yeah, and she did, and she's like, it hurts. I'm like, all right, all right. But yeah, so I got this unit, and just to kind of, so I got the procedure done 2016, got trained, got this place 2018. Now we're here 4 years later, 2022. My lease is up, and my landlord gave me 2.5 months notice. He said, Joey, I can't renew the lease. I'm sorry, but I'm knocking down the walls. My landlord is the guy next door. He owns the dental office. He said he's expanding his office. I'm like, oh, man, I fixed this all up. Everybody knows where it's at. It's all on my marketing material. So I was like, I'm not renting anymore. I refuse to rent and fix up a place and then have to move again another 5 years because I'm fully committed to this. So I bought a unit. So I actually was able to convince a guy to let me to buy the unit. It's on the opposite side of this complex. They're kind of like condo style, like 1,200 square feet.
You went next level.
Yes. It's been a nightmare, but it's also been a blessing, Dave. It's really, you know, a lot of people buy fancy cars and a lot of cool toys. I was like, you know what? Let me buy my unit. So at least I own the property and I'm not depreciating value. So that's kind of my thought process. Because worst case scenario, I could always sell it or rent it out to somebody else if I decided I don't want to do this anymore.
Outstanding. That's a great mindset, man. And it forces me to, well, it leads me into this question, which I wasn't even gonna ask. Like, what were you doing prior to this? You were in the corporate world, but your lingo, you know, sales, depreciating, you know, ownership. These are things that your traditional entrepreneur, especially someone that, you know, SMP is their first venture, you really don't have like that kind of vocabulary. I say vocabulary, it sounds a little more like, oh wow, it's not like nothing extra. It's just, but we don't talk like that. So what exactly were you doing in the corporate world?
Yep. So I used to work for JP Morgan Chase, the biggest financial institution in the world. I was a project manager. First, I worked in marketing, and then later I worked in IT. I have a master's in information systems.
Oh, nice. Outstanding. So you went from one extreme to another.
Yeah, I had a great job. You know, I was making almost 6 figures at Chase, and I gave it all up to do this full time.
To follow your passion.
Yes.
Do you regret it?
Hell no. Hell no. It's the best decision I ever made. Best decision I ever made. It was risky. So anyone listening to this, and I'll go into it. It was risky, but I made a strategic decision.
I want to ask about, like, what was that transition like? That decision, like, this is it. I'm going full blast with SMP. And I really want you to elaborate on your entire thought process, because majority of the listeners are new SMP artists, and a lot of them are under the impression that they're going to do this 2-day, 3-day training, and now they're off to the races to become the next best SMP artist. And I need them to understand that there's so much more involved, like decision making and just foundations before you can get there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So what I did was, first, once I got the certification, I would go to work full time. So I'd work full time, and then I'd come here at night, or I'd even use a vacation day and work on the weekends. And I had to also do limited marketing. You can't just, anybody coming up, you can't just quit your full-time job and start doing SMP, go get certified, trained, and then bam, you're going to start making a whole bunch of money. It doesn't work like that. I promise you, it doesn't work like that. Now let me just correct, there are people who will excel faster than others. There are people who are going to make more money faster, especially if you're already in the PMU industry, or if you're like a high-level barber and you got a big clientele, you'll probably do better than the average person, I'd say. However, the average person who is breaking into this industry, you 100% need to make a strategic plan. What is your game plan? And I highly recommend doing as much free people as you can, or doing it for like $100, $200, because you need to get the reps in, you need to get the practice. The whole goal, I'd say, for any new artist is to practice as much as possible and build up your portfolio, whether you're doing it for free or for a low amount of money, just so then you can then market yourself. You could say, hey, look, I did this. I created it. and I can do this for you. And then once you do that, then you're able to advance.
Yeah. So when you made that, when you were making that transition, man, like, you're married, right? Married with kids. Like, did you have,
Yeah.
was that a conversation with the spouse? Like, you know, I'm ready to go all the way in. Was she there for you? Was there a little hesitation? Like, what was that like?
I'd like to start from the beginning if that's okay. I'll give you
Yeah,
like a
let's
high
do
level
it, man.
overview.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Dave, I grew up in I was like a poor white kid. I was living in a trailer. You know, I was in a negative environment. My dad wasn't around. He was addicted to drugs. And I lived like what people would consider, I guess, typical white trash. Living in a trailer was me, my mom, my grandmother, and my brother for the most part. And I do have a sister, but she was living with my stepdad, her dad. And I was very shy. I had low self-esteem. We were poor. I was a jacked up kid. I was hyper. I wasn't super hyper, but I had pretty bad ADD. I wouldn't pay attention. I'd get in fights and all kinds of crazy stuff, get myself in trouble. And I was just surrounded by idiots, to be honest, losers, people who weren't doing things with their life. And I was like, I don't want to be like this. I see what's on the other end of when you give up, when you just take the easy route, when all you do is get high and get drunk. I was like, this is not a life for me. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. So I was like, my first goal was, let me graduate high school. Because at that time, nobody really in my immediate family or even my cousins, they got their GEDs. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to walk across that stage. So once I graduated high school, I was like, fuck yeah, I graduated high school. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? And my mom didn't have school money for me to go to college or anything. Nobody in my family went to college. So I was like, I was working at the Amazon, and I was working with this guy, you know, I was like packing the packages. And he was like, I was thinking about joining the Coast Guard. And it was a long wait. So I ended up joining the Navy. Long story short, I joined the Navy. I was in there a little less than 2 years, but I was able to get an honorable discharge. And what the Navy taught me was discipline, taking accountability. It taught me how to become a man, because I grew up without a dad. So I could do whatever I wanted as a kid. I didn't have any rules. I didn't have curfews, nothing like that. You know, I had free range, but I wasn't a bad kid, but I could have did whatever I wanted to do. And so the Navy, luckily I was able to get out of the Navy early. I was on the JFK, John F. Kennedy CV-67, one of the last non-nuclear carriers down in Jacksonville, Florida. And they basically turned that ship into like a floating museum. So it could come into a port near you, and you and your kids could pay like $50-$60, do a tour. Because everything now is a nuclear ship. So they had 5,000 men and women they had to send somewhere. And if you had good evaluations, they said, where do you want to go, Joey? Do you want to go back to school, or do you want to do this? Do you want to go to any ship, any port? I could have went to Guam, Hawaii. I was like, can I get out? They're like, yeah. I was like, can I get an honorable discharge? They were like, we'll give you an honorable discharge. I was like, can I get my benefits? They were like, we'll give you like most of your benefits. I was like, so he's like, what do you want to get out for? I was like, I'm going to go to college. And this chief, you know, they spend a lot of money training you. And they're like, you're not going to last a semester. I'm like, all right. So I come back to Delaware, and I got nowhere to live. I'm not moving back in that trailer. I got the honorable discharge. I came back to Delaware. So I got three of my friends. We could split the rent, you know, it was $900, or two friends, me, $900 a month, 300. So I worked full time, went to school full time for 7 years, paid all my bills full time, no help, worked out full time.
Outstanding.
And eventually I got my bachelor's degree in organizational management. I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. Yeah, I'm all pumped up. I'm like, nobody in my family has a degree. I did it. And the Navy did pay for most of it. And then they were like, hey, we'll still keep paying you if you get your master's degree. I was like, oh shit. So I was like, and that was in business management, organizational management was that degree, Wilmington University. And I was like, okay, well, what's going to keep moving forward? What jobs are not going to go away? Because a lot of people go to school for degrees that are, sorry, but they're not very useful. You're not really going to make any money, you know, you get kind of screwed over. And I didn't want to do that. So I was like, computers are going to keep growing. I mean, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, all these industries, they're just going to keep advancing. So I was like, let me go for something in computers. So I got the master's in management information systems, you know, IT. And I like to have a passion for it. And so I continued to work at this engineering company. doing that. And then once I was working towards the master's degree, I got recruited by a JPMC recruiter, and they're like, hey, come in here. So I took that job. I was like, hell yeah, I'll take this. A huge corporation. They're going to pay me way more money, like double the amount I was making at this engineering firm. And so I worked there, finally got my master's degree, and I was like, fine. And that was in 2014. So I got the bachelor's in 2012 and then the master's in 2014. And I was like, what do I do now? So I worked full time, you know, for a good 3 years, just working and all that sort of thing. But in 2015, I bought a house. All right. So I always wanted to buy a house because living in a trailer, I used to envy kids who had nice garages. They had both parents, you know, they went on vacations. And I was like, look at me, I'm just a little trailer park kid. I got nothing, you know, my teeth were all fucked up. And now I bought a house. I was like, fuck yeah, look at me. I got a garage. I was so happy. But I still am, yeah, it was a big deal to me. And I did that before I got married, but I got it. And then my wife moved in. She was paying for stuff too. Like it was split, but it was in my name because I used the VA loan. And then I got married in 2016 to my wife, and I love her to death. She's one of the reasons why I've made it this far. She's really helped me. And, you know, she said she always wanted to be a mom. And I did want to be a dad for a very long time. I wanted to be a dad. This is how I started SMP. I wanted to be a dad for a very long time, but I was like, my dad wasn't around. Because he died in 2012, he died from a heroin overdose, you know? And I went to yeah, thank you. I mean, he wasn't really a part of my life. But I needed to go to the funeral to forgive him, and to move on with my life type thing, because him not being around kind of made me stronger. Now it does make a lot of people cave, you know, or crumble or fall victim to their surroundings. And I didn't want that to happen to me. And so, you know, he died. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around.
No. Speak your mind.
Yeah. So, you know, he died, heroin overdose. And that just kind of gave me a lot more motivation and desire to want to achieve more. And that's why I kind of continued my education and got that master's degree as well. And then after the master's degree, buying the house. And then after buying the house, getting married. And getting married was great. But I don't recommend it to everyone. I just, and my wife knows how I feel. My wife knows how I feel. I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it real.
The story went from like, you know, she helped me do this. But hey guys, you might want to realize.
Listen, my wife is amazing. I love my wife, but I was with her since 2009. I got married in 2016. It's like 7 years. I know a lot of people get married in much shorter time than that, get married and then get divorced in under 7 years. So I'm just saying, if you're going to get married, spend a good amount of time with that person first and truly be sure that this is the person you want to be with, and you factor in all the different scenarios of what could go right and what could go wrong. And I love my wife. Shout out to my wife, Brittany. I love you. So we got married. It was great. And I'm living the dream. You know, I got a house. I'm working in corporate America. I'm in a big building. I'm working on the 16th floor. I'm wearing shirts and ties and you know, I'm living the dream. I got a little Chihuahua dog. It's great. It's definitely completely different than my lifestyle as a little poor kid on welfare and food stamps. It is totally different, and it was everything that I imagined. But I still wasn't. Once I hit that goal, I'm like, fuck, I'm not done. I'm not just gonna fucking have a kid. You know, I want more money. I want more. I can't just clock in and out at work and go on the computer, working in a cubicle. It's great. It's definitely a safe job.
Rat race.
Yeah, it's a rat race. You're climbing the corporate ladder. You're kissing some ass to get up there, and which is fine. I can play the game, but I don't have to. We live in America where there's opportunity. I was like, I already made it this far. Let's keep going. So I got SMP, and I thought about it. I was like, no one's doing this, and no one's doing this in Delaware. Waited a year. Then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get certified. So I used my vacation days. I went down there and I got certified, did the training. And that was, you know, 2017, 2018-ish. And because I would go back and shadow and all that sort of thing. And then I was happy, but my wife, she was getting upset because now I'm in I'm in my 30s. I'm 34, by the way. I was born in 1987. Graduated high school 2005. For anyone who's trying to figure that out.
2000.
I was the last class to go through high school without social media. Thank God. I feel bad for the kids now.
34. Wow, interesting. Young man. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
40. I'm young, but I mean, 34 year
Hey,
old.
you still got
probably
plenty
old.
of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got my wife, she started crying on the couch one night, right? And she was like, I want to be a mom. I want to be a mom. And I was like, I know you do. She's like, this has been my dream, is to be a mom. We have the house. You have a great job. And I'm like, I know, but I don't want to be here. I want to start my own business. So that's when I made the decision. I was like, look, just give me a year or two. Just let me start this business. If you fully support me, because I was like, I'm going to need your help. Renovations, I'm going to be working late nights. I need your help to support me. Because before we have a kid, because once you have a kid, it's a game changer. Absolute game changer. Your life, everything, your priorities shift, which they should if you want to be a good dad. Some people don't, unfortunately. But if you want to be a good dad, your priorities should 100% shift. So she's crying, and I'm like, I'm gonna start an SMP business. She's like, you don't even know how to do that. I was like, I know I don't.
You're
but
not
I can
a barber.
learn.
Why would you do that?
Well, fun fact. Technically, I didn't go to barber school, but I have been given fades since I was 14. I've cut lots and lots of hair.
In the Navy, I would assume there's somebody's always got to be the barber. You were that guy?
Yeah, well, I was in the Navy, and my friends. I started. One of my friends, when we were younger, he was like, "Yo, can you just shave my head?" So I practiced on stuffed animals. I'd shave the stuffed animals down. And then eventually I just started doing haircuts. When I would get my haircut, I was like, how are you fading it? How are you blending it? And he showed me his flaring technique, go like this and all that. So I never officially went to barber school, but I've given at least over 1,000 haircuts, I thought, I know how to cut hair. So I know how a hairline looks. I know, and then I can also fade if they need a density fill. Because if you are balding, shout out anybody out there balding listening to this. The shorter your hair is on the side, the thicker and fuller it's going to look on top. So I recommend getting a close shave on the side, like a 0 or a 1, and then keeping it longer on top. So I figured I could do that. So I went and got the training, and so we were grinding it out, working full time on the weekends, at night, renovating this property. And I was just doing free procedures, doing them for cheaper, until eventually I was building up my business. And then that was between 2018 and 2020, the pandemic hit, and I started really getting busy at the end of 2019. I was making a lot more money, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to start using more vacation days. And then my wife's like, oh, we gotta have a kid, and we end up having a miscarriage, unfortunately, and that was devastating. Yeah. And that was really sad. That sucked. And then I was like, well, this will give us time to get more situated. So I ended up, because I was doing so well with the business, I ended up selling my first house, then buying my new house. And I had to live with my in-laws for 6 weeks. And instead of taking all my shit to a storage unit, I stored it here. So people would come in here and be boxes everywhere. I was like, yeah, 6-8 weeks. All right, dude, I'm trying to save a little bit of money here. Using my unit. Why would I, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Why not?
So I use this because I have a full basement, and I use this as a storage facility. Bought my new house. I love my new house, 2-car garage. I got an 1.5 acres. It's fucking amazing. I got an in-ground pool, and I'm not bragging, everyone. I'm just telling you, I worked really hard to get where I am. And so that I'm not trying to impress you. I want to impress upon you that it is your decisions and not your conditions that shape your destiny. And that's really what it comes down to. So now I have this amazing house, 1.5 acres of property. I got an in-ground pool. I'm living the dream. And we had the miscarriage. But I was like, let's try again. I got the business really going. And so my wife gets pregnant, and we're crossing our fingers. We're hoping everything works out. We're doing everything we're supposed to do. And then while I'm still working at JP Morgan, and at this time, 2019, early 2020, before the pandemic, I'm told, hey, you're going to get laid off, Joey. You're going to get laid off. You can find another job within here. And I could have easily found another job. They're like, was like, you know what? My side hustle is doing really well. I'm just going to go full throttle. And Brittany, my wife's like, we have a son coming. What about the benefits? You know, your vacation days, your 401k, all that stuff. I was like, so I had to do the research. You know, it's very risky. Anybody out there, especially when you got a really good job, like I did, with a safety net, when you have 401k, you have a pension, and you have bills, and you have a family, it's not always the right decision to make to just throw it all away and start a business. But I just made a strategic plan. So I did the research. I found a healthcare plan, a dental plan, and I was like, I can afford this along with the rent. And I made a budget, and that's what I recommend everyone do. Figure out all your personal bills and then all your bills for your business. And can you live off that? How much are you averaging per month? If you're doing, 5K, 6K, 10K, then you get 15, then you get 18, 20, 25,000. When you start doing those kind of numbers, you'll feel a lot more confident. And that's what I wanted. My first goal was just to get 10K a month. Can I get 10K a month? So then once I was doing that, I was like, okay, once I hit 15K, hit 17, can I hit 20K? And then once you start doing that, you're making $15,000, $20,000 a month, you feel a lot more confident to take the risks. And that's really what it came down to. And I was like, look, I'll fucking walk around the mall and approach every bald person I see until I make a sale. I don't care what I got to do. I won't sleep until every bald person knows my name or see my face or had an uncomfortable situation. I just wasn't going to stop. I was going to force myself to get better. I was like, I can sit here and half-ass it, but I'm going to make myself better. So I was like, boom, 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 let's go. And so that's what I did. I made a strategic plan, and I just said, fuck corporate America. I'm just going to go full throttle with this business. And ever since I did that, and then that's why the first 2 years you look at my profile, or 2.5 years, you don't see my face, because I was paranoid. I was paranoid that my coworkers would see me, even though you're allowed to have a second job. Plenty of people do. I just didn't want them to know, maybe you with the cop. I don't know if the other cops know, but maybe you had to keep it a secret a little bit, right?
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. This is why you ignored my invitation about 1.5 years ago to come on. You're like, nah, I'm not, I don't want nobody.
Exactly. It's actually, yes. That was one of the reasons. I was like, hell no, I don't want anyone to see this.
No, I got you, man. And
I actually,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So once I got the certification with Dan, I did about 20, 25 heads. I was like, I'm gonna do a master class, because once I decided I was doing this pedal metal, that's when I went and trained with John Giroux. And so I trained with John for a week, John and Eric, and that was in 2019. This is when I would start making decisions like, I'm leaving this shit. I'm leaving corporate America. But me and John, we shot all this good footage and stuff, and then at the end, I was like, I told him he can't post it yet. I said, I'll tell you when. I'm buying a house. I got to do this stuff. And I think eventually it's going to come out. But now it's like, and his guy's there. But they were great. I took the master class. John's great. He did my touch-ups. So now I just go up there. Because at that point, I still had density fills, and I brought my hairline down. So since I was there, I got my touch-up and been lowering my hairline a little bit each year. But they were great.
It, you said?
Yeah. So I started up back here, and then I've just kind of been creeping it down over the years.
So when you gonna come back and box it off like every other New York?
No,
what, man?
No. I like the slight receding. And then it will throw away my logo. Everyone's like, "Is that you on the logo?"
Oh,
see the slight receding.
Got you.
Yeah, I'll throw it off.
Yeah. Then you're gonna have to rebrand, and we don't want to get into all that again. So
yeah, it's a whole big thing.
Now I appreciate and I respect, you being transparent about your come up, man. And I'm glad that you were willing to go that deep into it, because I get a lot of I especially for the podcast side, like there's people that they always talk. They send me questions. It's like, man, I would really love to hear about this. I would really love to hear about this. And not too many artists are willing to be transparent about their come up. And there's a lot of artists that are new or are even seasoned that have the same come up as you. And I feel like it's important to really put that out there, because this is it's still SMP related, because so many people want to get into the industry, but they feel like they grew up like me and you. Believe me, we have so much in common. We grew up learning how to survive, because that's what our parents, the situation they put us in, not as entrepreneurs and learners. So like there's a lot of people that really want to tap into the industry and just feel overwhelmed by their come up, and they feel like, oh, I can't be successful. And I think it's important to hear stories like yours and understand like all the adversities that you overcame and you still made it happen, and you're doing your thing as an SMP artist. So you took all of that, that shit that was handed to you, man, and you turned it into a lobster and steak dinner. And I commend you for that, brother.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, man.
It's been a tough journey. It's not for everyone, and it's really, how bad do you want it? That's what it comes down to. How bad do you want to get out of your current situation and make your life better? Because some people say, yeah, I want to be successful, yeah, I want to make a lot of money, yeah, I want a house, I want nice cars, I want this, I want to get married. But how bad do you really fucking want it? Are you willing to wake up day in, day out and grind and do things you don't want to do? Because that's really what success comes down to, is doing shit you don't want to do, but it has to be done. That's what it comes down to. Any successful person, all the artists out there who have constant clientele, they might make it look easy, but those guys work their fucking asses off, including Dave. Everybody who has a successful shop bust their ass day in, day out. They had a dream, they had a vision, and they just execute. Boom, 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 boom. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's very easy to see like where you're at right now and just go, oh, I can do this, without having known everything that you just expressed about, your come up, all the adversities, leaving the job, the wife, everything, it's just like, oh, I could do this. And it's like, oh, you could do this, but can you do that first to then get here? You know what I mean? And it's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people want to skip steps.
Yeah, they want to skip steps. And, it's interesting with the, so far with this interview, how it's going, because it's almost turned into almost like a business coaching session, almost like a motivational session, which that's what I wanted. Is you would think like, oh yeah, it's just gonna tap into like straight up SMP stuff, but like I said, this is important because at the end of the day, SMP is no different than any other business.
Yep,
You're
I 100% agree.
Through some shit, man, and what I'm grateful. And I appreciate that, you're willing to talk about, even the struggles that you have, even like with the real estate stuff like that. Cause, social media has given a really jacked up perspective on some of, the industry. And it's like, you take the class and you're going to be successful. It's like, no, the hell you're not. No, you are not, man. You're going to go through some ish. And if you're not ready for that, man, and dudes like me and you, especially, that come up with this background like that, we've overcame so many adversities. It's kind of like, I'm used to these gut checks. So, like we're survivors because that's just what's been instilled in us, right? But a lot of these guys just think, oh, I did my 4-day, man. I don't know what to do now, man. I haven't got a client in 3 months. It's like, well, welcome to entrepreneurship, my man. It's going to happen. What are you gonna do next is what are you gonna do next, man? So, again, I appreciate you for really tapping in and going real deep into the whole come up. But what I want to do now, I want to get into the whole SMP aspect. I want to talking about equipment, your mindset, like when you working on a client. And I want to start that off with, do you have an ideal client? Because you're in Delaware. I know we're not too far, New York, Delaware.
I think you're 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and that's still within, that's pretty regional.
Yeah, it's driving distance.
Right. Now, totally different culture though. Totally different culture. And you can see that with your SMP work and a lot of the other guys here, in New York. So do you have like an ideal client?
Ideal in the sense like who do I prefer to work on, or
let me elaborate. Like, do you have an ideal client, meaning like what's your go-to? Like, do you enjoy just doing someone that comes in, maybe just needs a hairline, like a Norwood 2 or 3, or you enjoy those Norwood 7 jobs, those 4-hour ones that leave your hands feeling
I like a big payment.
Okay, got you. You where the money's at.
I like a big payment. Now, I'll be completely honest. I don't got nothing to hide. I hate doing whole heads. I absolutely hate doing necklines, and I've done a bunch of them. And I'm going to charge more. If I got to do your whole head, here's how I break it down, Dave. I say, look, the human head has 1,200 hair follicles per square inch. What we're doing is we're replicating hair follicles over a series of sessions to create the illusion of a thicker, fuller head of hair. And you're going to probably need 3 sessions, possibly 4 sessions. Some guys, if a fair-skinned white guy, I'm doing 5 sessions. because I got to be very, very careful, especially in the beginning. You got to be careful because you don't want to mess up, right? And those guys' skin are super sensitive, and any imperfection, you're going to see it. It's going to be noticeable. So my ideal candidate in the beginning, I'd say for anyone starting out, you want to work on probably a darker person, if you can find that, or a density fill where you can hide it, because you can make slight mistakes and it won't be seen. And then you want to work up to like a red-haired freckled guy. That's I'd say is the biggest challenge, would be like a red-haired freckle, fair-skinned person. I'd say is the most difficult. What do you think?
Got you. Yeah. You know what? I get a lot of, like, my complexion, you know, olive, you know, fair to
Those are my
dark
favorites.
skin.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it
Those
looks
are my
great on
favorites.
that.
You know, and like, just real quick, you say you don't like working on the forehead. Neither do I. And lately, you know, that's the majority of what I'm getting. A lot of Norwood sevens, right? I don't want to put the artist's name out there because I don't know if he wants people to know this, right? Known artist in the industry, super cool dude, but he has the biggest scam going, and you'll appreciate it as an artist, right? So he's got other artists that work for him in his studio or his clinic. So all he does is the hairline part, man. So he does like the profile, the hairline goes back like about 3 inches on the Norwood 7, and then he transfers it over to
Genius.
one. And I'm like, how can you be mad at that?
I love it.
You know?
I strive to get there.
Yeah,
One
I was
day.
like, listen, that's the kind of scaling I would love to do with my business.
I know who it is too.
And
He's doing. I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy for that individual. He's doing the damn thing.
I was like, brother, you cracked the code, man. You cracked the code. How can I be mad at you for that, man?
I definitely agree that doing the natural hairlines are the most fun for me. It's 100% the most. It's because it's what you see first.
Yeah, that's the business card. Now, let me ask you about the hairline, right? You said the natural hairline. What's your thought process, man, when you're about to attack a natural hairline? Like, do you already know, all right, this is what I'm doing my first session, this is how I'm spreading out the density for the second, third, or are you just winging it? Like, or is there a strategy behind it? Or have you reached the point of competence that you're just like, you know what, man, I got this?
I definitely feel confident with it, but I'm always learning. So like I said, I train with Dan Ehrenberg, then I trained with Jero and Eric, and then recently in Phoenix trained with Jeff Picasso, Jeff, and then even with D Black Chris with the SMP.
Nice.
And each one of those individuals, I learned a little bit more. So on a natural hairline or with any hairline, the first thing I do is I have people sit in the chair and I say, raise your eyebrows, wrinkle your forehead like this, because we're never going to make the hairline go into where your forehead wrinkles start. So when you're making faces, laughing, crying, frowning, you don't want your hairline moving. So that's the first thing. So I'll figure out what's the lowest point that I want to reach on their head, on their forehead. And I always say we can start a little bit higher on the forehead because we can always work our way down. But if we start too low, I can't erase it. So that's number one. And usually on the first session, I'm just trying to build the foundation. So I'll break it up, but you're not going to see it that much. Like it's not going to, because there's not enough density behind it. So I just tell them we're just laying the foundation, right? And I always start with a lighter color on the first one because I want to also see how does that heal up. So I'm going to add more water because I don't want to go too dark. And then the second session, that's when I'll go a little bit darker, and that's when I'll really lay it on. You'll see a much bigger difference after the second session because I lay a lot more density in there. We got the foundation from the first session. And I wait 7 to 14 days between sessions,
Gotcha.
First and second session. And then after the second to the third, I try to do 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month. And if we have to do a fourth session, we'll do that about 3 or 4 weeks out.
Got you. You know, you brought something up that I feel like I don't know if it's a thing like, oh, if you do it, it just means you don't know what it is that you're doing. And I'll elaborate a little more because I was talking to someone, say maybe like about 4 days ago, and they were asking me like, hey, Dave, like, have you ever had to do a fourth session? Have you ever had to do a fifth session? And I was like, yeah, of course, absolutely. Especially when I was starting out. Oh, what about now? Yeah, sometimes now I need to do a fourth session too. And I'm listening to the person. He's telling me who they're also getting feedback from too. I was like, oh, you know, he told me if you got to do more than 3 sessions, you just don't know what the hell you're doing. And I was like, not necessarily true. And you brought something up about having done 5 sessions on a client, depending on, you know, their skin tone and the undertones, because, you know, you want to gradually build. Can you just elaborate on that? Why, that you see no issue in having to do the fifth, a fourth or fifth session, because ultimately you want to provide an amazing results.
Exactly. Yep. No problem. So 2 parts on there. When I take payments, I'll take one, I'll get the deposit. I'll go into why I do 5 sessions. So I'll take the deposit, which is usually $100, maybe $200. And then I'll take like half at first session. And then I'll do like 30 to 40% and then a smaller payment. So I always break it into 3 payments, right? So guaranteed 3 sessions. And I want to do 3 sessions because I've actually got it done, and I've gotten it done by the best in the world, from John and Dan. And so I know how many sessions I personally needed from some of the best in the world. So I know that that's what needs to be done. Okay. Now, some people might not need as much because they might not have as much hair loss, but yeah, I'll do 5 sessions because I want to be careful. I would rather do more sessions and have a better long-term result than to just hurry up, rush, do 2 or 3 sessions, take their money, and then they're pissed off a year from now or 2, and then talking shit on you and going to somebody else. Because that's what will happen. It will catch up to you. If you're sitting around and you're just trying to take the money and do the least amount of sessions, this shit's going to catch up. And it might look great for a little bit, but as a person who also has SMP on their head, I know with the long-term results, eventually it's going to fade. You're going to get a gray shadow, and you're going to need a touch-up at least every 3 to 5 years. Now, some might hold up a little bit longer, but eventually you're going to need the touch-up regardless. So I think doing those extra sessions really ensures the longevity. And yeah, if I'm doing 5 sessions, there's probably going to cost a little bit more.
Got you. Yeah. And I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I was surprised. I've heard it from a couple of it, and I just wanted to bring it up because I guess it's a more common thing. I guess, some of the artists are like, well, if you're doing more than 3 sessions, you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, there's absolutely nothing wrong taking the client into consideration and wanting to give them a good procedure. And if you're in doubt of your skills and capabilities, then why not, take your time and giving them the 4th and the 5th session. Not saying that you are, that's a strategy, but I mean, like, for a newbie, so what if it's taking you 4 or 5, sessions to give the client ultimately, a good looking natural procedure. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I just wanted to get your perspective on why.
No, I like what you said there about taking the client into consideration. You saying that is 100% true. And the fact that that's not the #1 priority on people's minds I'm mind blown, because my whole philosophy is I want good Google reviews, right? I want the person to be happy. I want them to go brag to their friends and family. Hey, I got this done by Joey Dots. I want referrals. So I'm going to do as many sessions as it takes to make that person happy. I don't care if we do 10 sessions. Now I do care. I don't want to, and I haven't,
Yeah.
but I would if it
Right.
if it was required. Now I've had people who can't take the pain, which I'm sure you've dealt with this. It's frustrating, right? You don't want someone walking around with half their head done, or if you do, because what sometimes happens if they can't take the pain and you're laying a shit ton of density on the front, and then they're basically tapping out. You just got to kind of even space out the rest in the back, and so they're walking around like half a
Throws
procedure.
off the whole flow.
Yeah, it's not fun. Then I got that in the back of my mind the whole time, and then that throws off your second session because now you got to allocate time for that whole thing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's crazy because it almost feels so coincidental. I actually had that last week, either Thursday or Friday, and once we hang up, I'll show you the picture. So it was a density fill. So I got to do half the hairline, about 2 or 3 inches back. So it was just like a piece, half the hairline, like going from left to right, and then from the hairline back into the crown area. And the client didn't have any breakfast, no nothing. And he started like going into almost like cold sweats. And I was like, yo, what's going on? He's like, bro, I don't feel good. So I was like, all right, were you drinking last night? He was like, I was drinking last night and I haven't eaten breakfast. And now it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, brother, I just, I can't do this anymore. He's like, but bro, look at how this looks. This looks ridiculous. I was like, I understand you, but for my safety and for your safety, like, there's just no way. Like, what your body's experiencing right now, you're borderline going into shock. So I had to send him home like that, which I've only had.
I know that's a tough decision,
A
but
handful
you made the right
times.
one.
But yeah, it was kind of like, listen, I'm not gonna jeopardize myself. I don't want to know how good my insurance coverage is.
So you have people sign a waiver, right, Dave?
Absolutely. consent.
You recommend that to everybody? Because some people don't.
Absolutely everybody. I'm big on consent forms and intellectual property. I'm all about protecting yourself as a business. It's an absolute must, especially for what we're doing. And you and I both know, some of these people, they know the kind of money that we're making, and they go, oh, hold on a second, I see a loophole here, I'm coming for it. And I personally know an artist who had to settle out of court over $250,000 to keep a client quiet. Yeah.
Ah, that's terrible.
Did the right thing, did right by the client, didn't have a consent form that properly protected him. Client found that loophole, got a lawyer that was willing to jump on that bandwagon, make a little bit of money. You know, those guys fresh out of college, they'll jump on anything, right?
Yeah.
Hyenas said, okay, fine, we'll drop, we won't sue, we'll talk out of court. I want I think it was probably about 250, 275,000. This guy had to come out
Jesus Christ.
275,000, save himself, his business, all that good stuff. So yes, consent form, always do it. I want to talk about your equipment, man. What equipment are you using, bro? Are you a one machine guy, 2, 3, 4? Depends on the texture of the skin. You know, what is it?
That's a great question. So I'm not a fancy guy. I don't got a $2,000 machine. I use a Dragon Hawk. I use a Dragon Hawk.
Bro, those things are no joke, bro.
I use a Dragon Hawk. I recently, when I went and got my touch up, I was up at Giroux in April, and he's got the wireless one. I was looking at it, I really like it, so I think I'm gonna get a wire. I have a wireless one now, but it's not that strong. But I think I'm gonna definitely get the wireless one because I've already ordered it.
Right? The Soul Nova.
Yeah, and it's also I had an issue where I was working on someone on a Saturday and they shut the power off, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm in the middle of doing a procedure. I got and so the Dragon Hawk's plugged in. So I had to
shut your power off.
There was like a lightning storm, so the power went off to the whole building. I'm in the middle of doing a head. Now I'm losing lighting. I have no lighting, so I had to put the headlamp on. And luckily, I did have the wireless, the wireless rotary pen to finish it. But if I didn't have that, oh my God, I felt terrible. They drove up from Baltimore. That would have been terrible. So that's why I always, to any artist out there, always have at least 3. I would say, because if one breaks and then the other one breaks, and have a wireless one, because shit might get crazy.
Listen, I always preach that. I had a horrible experience. I was doing a show out in Cali that they invited me, the Golden State Tattoo Expo. I go out there with my one machine. I'm still within my first year. I have no right to be in this freaking show. And who's there? Stevie G and Picasso. Picasso just recently trained me. He's looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? But he respected the hustle. Like, I see you, at least you're putting yourself out there. All right, boom, long story short. In that weekend, I had 7 people lined up to come. I was like, listen, I'll do it for free. I just want to be able to show off what I'm doing. Bro, my machine dies out on me. I was like,
oh my God,
what the fuck am I going to do? So what do? I run over to the Sigh-Annie booth, and you got all these like pro artists, and I'm like, hey man, I'm new. I do SMP. Some of them are like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, yo, my machine just died. Can I buy one? Can I this? And they're laughing. I could hear them as I walked away. I was like, yo, this better never ever happen to me. And then Stevie G, God bless this guy, such a fucking beautiful soul. He was like, yo, what do you need, bro? I got this. He was ready to give me whatever.
He'll chop.
Yeah. He was like, here you go, man. This is what you need. And he threw me the life preserver. After that, I never operated because I was like, what if this happens to me in my office? This is embarrassing. So, okay, got you. Multiple tools. What about needles? What are your go-to needles? Do you have a go-to?
I do. And I'll be honest, I started off using those. Is it called are they the easy needles? The one. So I started off using the ones. I know what there was I forget what they're called, but the easy
black and gray.
They're the ones used. Yeah.
Damn it.
They were terrible.
Easy something like that.
I used my go-tos are the Sigh-Annie, the FYT. Those are my favorite. Is the Sigh-Annie and the FYT.
So I like the the 0.25.
Yeah. I love the 0.25. I like the needles with the closed tip. That's my favorite. I don't like wiggle room. Now the FYT pink, they do have a wiggle room, but it's pretty closed. It's pretty closed. It's just so the ink can move in, in and out cleaner. And I do have a bunch of the green ones, the green FYTs. I love those as well. And I haven't really tried too many other ones, but those are my favorite. Those are the ones that I use the
Gotcha.
most. And I'm willing to try other needles, but that's what I've been using. I really enjoyed those.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask, are you open to other one? Or are you just like, all right, this works, I'm good? Not really.
Yeah, because when you try a new needle, it's like, who do I try it on? When do I try it? Do I try it on the back of the head? Do I try it on the front of the head?
Excuse me, sir. Hold on. Why are you switching out the needle? Did it clog up? Yes, yes. You got some dandruff on there. You got to get it out.
So, and I didn't even know you could clean. I actually learned that from John when I was doing that training. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to change like 10 needles, because he showed me how you can pull it up and clean it and wipe the dead skin off. I was like, holy shit, I could do that. And I started doing that. I was like, oh, that saves me some money and it saves the needle, you know?
It's so crazy how many times I've had artists, even when we talk behind the scenes, talk about like, yo, I didn't even learn. Like I was literally going through like 10, 20, sometimes 30 a client. And it was like, and there's always with the, with the dry scalp. And it's like, what? You were throwing the needle away? Like, yo, I did not know you could squeeze and like project it out and clean it. I was like, holy shit. Like it was like, damn, like
it's a game changer.
Like what? You saving me money and I can recycle this? All right. So how about pigment, man? What are you using for pigment? Don't tell me you make your own, all right, man? I know you guys in Delaware are doing crazy.
I use it all, but I buy the people who make their own. I buy it from their supplier. Okay, I'm not going to reveal who that is.
Okay.
I get it from the main source, but I've used all of them. I've used all of them except the brown, because I want to use the brown, but it's new, so I'm a little afraid. But it looks great on other people. I kind of just want to see how that goes. I'm really excited for it. I just personally have not used it. I've used Matt Iulo's. It's a great product. Jeff have the Ghost, or somebody has the Ghost pigment. I use Giroux as well. I've used them all.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Like I'm all for innovation. I think is amazing, but I need to see proof and concept. Like someone who's had it for 7 years, I really want to see like how this. I'm
hoping for some red. I'm hoping for like a red or something like
for the gingers.
Or something. Maybe just I just end up diluting it. Using a little bit more water, which turns out pretty good. But it's just I'd like to see some red.
I just did a ginger about 2 weeks ago, and I used my go-to is pigmenta, and I know this is not about me, but I also have oh come on, don't do this to me, man. It's from Billy DeCola. Billy DeCola has his own line of SMP pigment, and now I don't remember the freaking name of the company, and that's horrible. But they have extra light, medium, dark. It's like seven colors, and they also got the brown. I used their light on the ginger, and dude, I was like pre-diluted.
Nice, right?
Yeah, pre-diluted. I was like, ooh, okay, I like this, because I remember having to just dilute it and I put a little more. Let me do 8-10 more dots. Oh shit, that's too dark. Still, hopefully I could blend that out. With this, with the light, man, what the hell?
So you use the light, medium, dark, and super black?
No, for this guy, I just used the light. So
but I'm saying that those are the different variations you can use.
Yeah, there's ultra light, there's light, medium, black, dark, brown, and then it comes with the to mix it. Is a clear solution to
the distilled water
to mix it. It's not distilled water. It's almost like, I'm gonna say it's probably like have you ever used the Silverback clear? They have like a clear to like mix it. I'll put you more time. It's really good. It actually helps hold it. It doesn't dilute it too much. I'll drop it in. I'm not dropping this gem today right now for these guys.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'll send it out to you. So Joey, before we wrap it up, my brother, I want you to give one piece of advice to a new up and coming SMP artist.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a couple. And I do want to. Can I say one more thing that I highly recommend people use?
Let's go for it.
Vasocaine. Vasocaine is a game changer if you're
If
doing
you
a
can find it.
procedure on, if you can find it. You might have to do some shady stuff to get it, but if you can find it, it's a game changer. And what that does is it takes away the inflammation, the redness. Okay, it's a red blood cell restrictor. So if the person's getting really red, and sometimes it's hard to work on someone, they start getting really red, there's a little bit of lidocaine in it, you spray that on there, especially at the end of the procedure, you take a nice photo, and it reduces the redness, and it gives some pain relief to the person who's getting it as well. And I also use the foam. I use foam during the procedure to clean off the excess ink. Taylor Perry has great foam. Highly recommend that. I use that. I give that out to everyone I'm training. Yep.
Solid ink. It's called Solid Ink.
Solid ink. Okay.
It's the brand.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Writing it down. I brought a notepad. Hey, I'm here to learn too. I'm a student of the game.
Always, bro. Always.
Yeah,
I learned so much from interviewing you guys, man.
My biggest piece of advice to anyone wanting to break into any industry, or specifically the SMP industry, is one, take your time. Don't rush into it. Learn what you need to do and learn from multiple people, and never stop learning. Never think you're too good to learn from somebody else. Even some of the best artists in the world, they're still learning, because this industry is really maybe 10, 12 years old, right? I'd say take your time and really think, is this what I want to do? Do you really want, because my wrist, I'll be honest, my wrist has, and my hand has taken a little bit of a toll doing repetitive motion. And I at night, I'll use, ice packs and stuff on my hand, because you're squeezing and you're holding
like this. Look at those mitts, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have the same problem, but yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you.
Yeah, when you wall. Yeah. These are working hands, right? And it takes a toll on you. Now, if you want to get in the industry, take your time, do as many free procedures as you can, get the practice in, build up your portfolio, and don't rush. Do as many sessions as it takes on a person. Take your time, be polite, be professional, and just know that you want to provide the best customer experience. And that's why I hung up a TV, I give them something to watch. We talk. I have so many 3-4 hour conversations one-on-one with people. Like in my new unit that I'm buying, I deliberately didn't want to knock all the walls down, which the open concept looks good, but I enjoy I've met so many. I've worked on doctors, lawyers, garbage men, people in government, baseball players. And just a fun fact, you meet so many connections and networking. Sometimes it will help you in your real life while you're still doing SMP. For example, I'm trying to get this deck built, right? And you need permits to get the deck. And I know the guy who can make the permit happen for me much quicker than other people. So I was able to do that. You make some really good connections. And if I ever
barter hairlines, man, I'm all for it. Got to barter them hairlines.
Hair loss is not targeted to any one demographic. I get walks from all life. 18-year-olds. The oldest person I've worked on was a 78-year-old woman. And trust me, I was hesitant. I was like, but she drove herself. She talks fine. She was good. She had just gotten some eyebrow stuff done, and she just wanted like a little bald spot filled in. I said, I got you. And get waivers, protect yourself, and even marketing. So I give and aftercare sheets. When someone comes in, I have them sign a release form saying, if you don't want me to show your face, check option B. If I can show your face, option A. Because some people are like, yeah, you can use my picture, but then they might change their mind later. But if you get it in writing, protect your butt.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. And before we wrap it up, Joey, let everybody know where they can find you, bro. Social media, handle, website, all that good stuff.
Yep. You get a hairline.
You get a hairline.com.
No, DelawareScoutMicropigmentation.com. My Instagram is Delaware_SMP. My personal Instagram, where I've been starting to post more pictures of my work, is Joey_dots, DOTS. And then www.DelawareScoutMicropigmentation.com, and my YouTube channel, which I'm starting to grow, making more promotions coming out. I got a few more videos coming out. I'm just trying to get through this move, moving to my unit 16. I'm really excited about it, and I really do appreciate you having me on, Dave. We'll have to have another podcasts in the future. And I will
Follow
be at the Scalp Show. I'll be there in Vegas.
I'll be there too, man. We'll chop it up this time, man. This time,
Yep.
I'll be able to free reign.
Are you hosting? Oh, you're doing that?
No. Craig Bottom Lehigh from the UK is hosting.
Are you going to the Mexico one?
No, I won't be able to make. I was supposed to host that one, but with
Okay, I saw that.
I wasn't able to attend. I'll be there.
I don't know how you're able to do anything, man. You got quite the undertaking, and good for you. I'm proud of you. Seriously,
trying to
that
get
is
it
so
done now
hard.
so I could just chill when I'm in my early 50s, man. But thank you. I appreciate it, brother. The compliments. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking out some time. I know you got a lot of shit going on to jump on the podcast, chop it up, being incredibly transparent about your come up, all the adversities you've overcome to get to the position where you at now. And again, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Anybody listening, whatever it is you're after, be consistent, be persistent, and never stop trying. Keep chasing your goals. You can do it. Take it from this kid who came from the trailer park, and now I'm a business owner, living an amazing life. I'm living the dream. I truly am, because I was consistent, persistent, and I didn't give up. And you can do it too. You can do it too. Just like me, you can do it too. You can be successful if you're willing to put in the work, but you can't skip the steps. You got to put in the work. Go get some.
Hell yeah. Look at that. That's right. Look at that. That guy's ready for the stage. He's a motivational speaker right there.
I didn't even get to talk about that. But we'll talk about.
Oh, that's right. Look at you. He's angry now. See that? He didn't get to speak about his motivational speaker stuff. He smacked his own camera. But all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Mr. Joey Dots for tapping in from Delaware. Until the next time, guys. Peace.
Thanks, Dave.